Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back KS family. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently down 3.14% to 19,935. Ethereum down 6.28% to 1049. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. Please consider sharing and liking this video, and also subscribing to the channel. We would love to have you as a part of our globally extended KS family. Thank you for tuning in. I very much appreciate us sharing this time together. What we've just done is a quick run through the crypto market. We know no alt can withstand Bitcoin's gravity. It can't escape it, but they can come out of phase from time to time, and that's what we look for on days like today. Long term, any alt will get pulled in Bitcoin's direction, but there always exists windows of opportunity that we can capitalize on. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the Masterclass, the tax software I use, and you can always directly message me on Twitter. Just recently, I created Borsog Trader, a new YouTube channel, and you'll find that link in the description of this video. It's all about helping you better time market entries and exits. Episode 1 was how I made 10% profit in 5 hours when crypto was crashing by putting Borsog trades into Phantom FTM. I'll be coming out with many more videos like this. When you do Borsog trading, one thing to keep in mind, if you're new to trading, start with what I would call coffee money. Just put in trades into the market that don't give you any pain to do, because what you're really doing when you Borsog trade for the first time, you need to learn how the market moves and how it works. This is really important. You don't want to get into the market and say, market, you need to pay me back. I have losses and I want payback right now. The market will just keep on taking your money. Don't do that. Just start small and scale. I'd like to express my gratitude for the very kind and generous people who have reached out and bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/CryptoTradingKS. I'd like to thank Vicente. Dear Ken, thank you very much for being there every day, offering us continuous training that is priceless. Like any professional in life, the more time we dedicate to it, the better qualified and more remunerated we will be in time. Thank you, Vicente. Very kind of you. Vision SR. Thank you, my friend. Wrecked. Also, thank you. And Badger. Thank you, Ken, for being such an awesome mentor and friend. Very nice of you, Badger. And thank you very much to Trish. Thank you, Ken, for all the knowledge you share with us. Each month I learn and grow, something that wasn't always true before I came to the CTKS family. I'm in at 8.5% return on investment for the first 10 days of this month. Woohoo! On you, Trish! Thank you to Vicente as well. Rundle Ridge, hi Ken, thanks for another great video full of wisdom. I look forward to sharing these quotes with my children too. When we climb the mountains around us, I find it similar to life. At the top, after the hard work, the view is spectacular. Thank you to Vicente. Gratitude is what we feel in our community for your tireless efforts. I'm always watching the daily video. Well done, my friend, and I hope your job eases up a little bit. Oscar, thank you very much. And Joe Bird, thank you. And Deborah, thank you also, my friend. I love your explanations. And Deborah, please reach out and directly message me on Twitter. Let's check in on the markets. We can see the VIX. Yesterday it was coming down, and then as the session started it gapped up quite considerably, but it sold off. What does this actually mean to price when we look at the Nasdaq? What happened is that as the VIX shot up here, gapped up, price in the Nasdaq came down to that support level that we drew yesterday. What did it do? It went up to resistance and then came down. But this is actually really constructive price action. This is a low, this is a low, but this low is higher. This is what is called a higher low. It can signify that we're getting an uptrend. We're still in pretty early days, but it does look quite encouraging. Always have your three-way decisions. And why do we do this? Why do we look at the stock market? We're all about crypto because of this blue line. This blue line is Bitcoin's price action. And you can see it's very, very closely following the directional bias of the Nasdaq at the moment. We must always know what we're doing with a specific trade or our portfolio. If things go for us, go against us, or go nowhere. And don't wait until you're under so much pain that you have to decide. Decide when it's easy to do. We can see bond prices starting to normalize, bond yields starting to normalize as well. These have been very, very out of sync for many months now. When we look at gold, which can measure geopolitical risk, but it can also measure a lot of other things, we saw, for example, it's good to look at gold and the dollar together. We can see basically that gold was under resistance. It tackled this resistance, shot right through it, and is seeking to turn it to support. One thing that you will typically notice is that gold and the dollar tend to move inversely to each other. This is not always the case. Things in financial markets will phase in and out of coordination or collaboration, and you've got to be really aware of this. There's no simple rules in the market. Recently, we saw a very, very big spike up in the dollar, the DXY, and then it collapsed down and then shot up. What we're actually seeing here, and it's a little early to tell, we may have a crossing of resistance, the dollar may resume up. It's just a little bit wobbly at the moment. However, it's made a lower low. This is a low, this is a low, but this one is lower. That could indicate the starting of a downtrend. And if that is the case, that's actually really, really good. But we look at the RSI and we see that it's very, very low, which means there could be a lot of pent-up demand in here to push things forward. We've got to be a little bit careful. The dollar is in kind of no man's land at the moment. But one thing that we do see, oil has collapsed down, and this is really, really good for global inflation. And it's also good for world peace. Potentially, this kind of behavior shows that supply constraints within Europe are starting to ease or starting to be worked around, and there could be an end to the war coming up, which would be really, really good. War is no good for anyone, unless you're an arms dealer. When we look at the put-call ratio, we can see that the negative sentiment is starting to come out of the market, but when we look at junk bonds, this may be a crossing of trend. Again, we need to be careful. You can see the dollar is in sort of no man's land as well, and the junk bonds are in no man's land as well. It is quite a positive development, but we'll just have to keep our eye on this. We would expect to break upwards to actually fuel further upward momentum, and that is in Bitcoin and your beloved alts, because you know that no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. So we want Bitcoin to go up. Bitcoin is never the enemy. Bitcoin is a friend. Many in the crypto space want to fight against Bitcoin. You can see what happens when Bitcoin comes down. Bitcoin's a friend. It's not an enemy. And when we look at inflation expectations, we see the 10-year and the 5-year both coming down. This is actually good, but notice more money is going into the Fed balance sheet. The Fed was saying that we're going to stop our asset purchases and we're going to decline or taper off and bring the Fed balance sheet down. You can see that actually hasn't happened. Let's have a look at Rule 45. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. Turning to fear and greed in the crypto market, we can see the amount of fear inside crypto is equivalent to the COVID sell-off, and that was extreme fear, fear beyond all measure. We can see that we're down around the same levels. Actually, we've even dipped lower than the COVID-19 sell-off. The index is currently 11, which is saying that there is extreme fear in the market, and that extreme fear has been around since the 3rd of May. Bitcoin is currently trading at 20,251. Now, what we noticed here is that the options expiring yesterday were basically max pain was at 21,000. but the actual price of Bitcoin closed at around 20,000. Tomorrow's options were 21,500 yesterday. They've come down $1,000 to the max pain price of 20,500, and options expiring at the end of the month in 2 days remain unchanged at 30,000. There are a lot of things going on in the crypto space, and when we overlay the Nasdaq futures, we can see the futures have been approximating Bitcoin's movement, especially recently. But what do we notice here? The Nasdaq pumped up here above this particular high. If we saw the same kind of movement in Bitcoin, we would expect that high to be up here. It's not currently. In fact, there's a bit of a weakening in the trend on Bitcoin. This is a particular support level that's been breached. It's cradling underneath these two resistance levels. What we can see is that the options market is saying prices could potentially go up. But when we actually look at price momentum, price is under two resistance levels just at the moment. We always have to contextualize with what is actually going on. What we actually can see is the Bitcoin is trying to get above this resistance. Back here, this resistance was very strong. When it breached, it plummeted down. But this was on actually really low volume and was potentially quite a large manipulation inside the market. But these things do happen, and we have to be aware of them. Now we can see we're on the other side. We're under this resistance. If price gets through this resistance, that resistance there, playing out at 2327, and Bitcoin is really trying hard to get above it right now. If we get above that resistance, the next level will be at about 21,081. We need to get above that, and then we can look at resuming and taking out all of these particular resistance levels. Just keep your eye on it. It's very uncertain what's going to happen at the moment. I would suggest that if you can go to a degree of cash, that's not a bad idea, especially in market conditions like this, when things are very uncertain. One thing that I would like to keep your mind on, when Bitcoin actually comes down in price, it actually doesn't mean it's the end of the world for the crypto market. Certain cryptos will move in an opposite fashion to Bitcoin, and that's where we can actually do incredibly well borsogging. Borsogging is not dollar cost averaging. It's not a way to lower your average buying cost. It's a way to turn things over. You want to borsog with basically coffee money. You want to keep it so cheap that you won't miss it. And why is that? Why aren't we trying to make back losses? Because you must learn before you make back a loss, or else you're just going to add to your losses. What I've done here is just give you a bit of a sample as to different cryptos that are showing a degree of strength. Of course, you must take your time and be cautious with what you do. You're actually trying to learn with Borsog. That's what Borsog is all about, Borsog Trading. It's all about starting small and then scaling. For many people, they exist out of synchronization with the market. They can typically easily sell when it's the bottom and then buy at the top. You must get into the synchronization patterns of the market. And that's actually what Borsog Trading is all about. The great problem that exists is the retail mindset wants to be addicted to dopamine hits. It basically wants to get a high out of thrill and euphoria or denial, panic, anger, blaming, capitulation. This is a very nasty place to be. And smart money doesn't live in this circle. It's out of that circle. Smart money is unemotional. They're professionals. They're trained. They're like trained firefighters. They know what to do when the market is burning. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to get away from zone 1 and zone 2 thinking. What is zone 1 thinking? It's basically entitlement. I'm here, I should make money. It doesn't matter if I know what I'm doing or not. I should make money. Zone 2 is the anger, blame, aggression, conflict zone. These are zones of negative excellence. People that live in zone 1 and zone 2 have trauma throughout their life. And it's just as easy as getting out of zone 1 and zone 2 to get into zone 3 and zone 4. All the difference is that we learn from what we actually experience in the market. Instead of being blinded by entitlement or being blinded by rage and upset and blame and aggression, what we do is that we look into the trades and learn. That is what all professionals do. There is no way to get rich quick, and often when people want to get rich quick, they go all in and more, which is just a form of gambling. If you feel like you're in zone 1 or zone 2, don't worry at all about it, because we all start in zone 1 and zone 2, and then we move with patience and dedication and commitment into zone 3 and zone 4. Zone 3 is where we ditch the concept of certainty. We just look at the market and just subscribe to its natural flows and ebbs. Zone 4 is where we focus on actually enjoying life and understanding that money comes as a result of a strong character and it leaves as a result of a weak character. So we want as strong a character as possible, and we don't get caught up in this emotional train wreck that most people go through. And it's really very, very simple to understand why people go through this. They're taught. Basically, people come out with thumbnails of screams and euphoria and all sorts of things, and people say, oh, that's how I'm supposed to feel. Actually, smart money doesn't feel that way at all. They're actually quite neutral. They know that hard work, dedication, patience, rules, just assessing probabilities and understanding percentages, that's where it's all at. From an unemotional stance, you can borsog with no more than you can afford to lose, and that no more should be no more than coffee money or less, because what you're actually doing when you place your trades into the market with a variety of different alts that are escaping Bitcoin's gravity as Bitcoin goes down, and they are in the crypto market, but you just have to be careful with them. You don't want to hold them for too long. But the concept is, how do you deal with the emotion? Because I can tell you, it's real. No matter what you put in the market, money is money, and you will have the same kind of emotions. But it's all about, Borsog Trading is all about learning to control those emotions and then profiting. And it can be done. So we can see DYDX has cleared resistance, and it's coming up to resistance around 1749. What about 1 inch? It's trying to figure out what it's going to do. It's consolidating around this support level. It's a little bit unsure if it can consolidate those gains and push higher or will come down. This is why Borsog Trading, you really have to manage your risk. And just with all trading, you have to manage your risk. But the concept is never put in more than you can afford to lose. That's always a golden rule in any investing and trading. And don't forget, Borsog Trading is not like accumulation trading. It's not like long-term hodling. You're basically in and out to understand the market's mechanics. And you can actually ride a specific alt up and down as well, just looking for a percentage gain that you feel comfortable with. And it must be realistic. And this is where you'll find the greed comes in. The greed will say, I want to place my sell order here because I want to make money back. But the natural market movement may say that you can get something like this back in a reasonable amount of time, or even less, something like that. And this is where a lot of people struggle, because they say, oh, I want to make a huge percentage. I want to ride every wave like this, buy at the exact bottom, and then ride it up as far as it will go. It's really, really difficult to time tops and bottoms. Professionals don't even try to. They just ride the sweet spot of a move. You can see perp. Perp has disconnected from Bitcoin's gravity, but actually if we look in here, we can get some understanding of how things are moving. And this is really important, to keep your eye on how these things actually move. You basically need the skills and practice of the masterclass, but I'm sharing this each day because I want people to understand that it's possible to make money in any market condition. Just take it slow. Go slow to go fast. Right now we're on a 30-minute time frame, but we can change to 15-minute to get more granularity, 10-minute to get even more, or we can go up in the time scales to zoom out and try to see the perspective. But with Borsog, you're really in it for the short time. I'll just give you a couple more alts to actually pop on your radar. So when we look at Mana Decentraland, we can see it's overextending the upward momentum in Bitcoin. This is quite good. Sand, another metaverse play, is also doing quite well. You can see this over exaggeration, and this is why the alts are absolutely fascinating. IOTA is also doing really well. Atom, Cosmos is also doing well. You'll find that there are always opportunities in the crypto market. It doesn't really matter what Bitcoin is doing. Sometimes when we get sell-offs, the money will pull across a collection of alts, and they can be really good, but there are no guaranteed certainties. This is really important. If you get into the market and you're putting your coffee money into these various alts or whatever alts you wish to put in, just beware. When you're actually doing Borsog trading, you're trying to get a specific percentage which the market will reasonably give you. You're not trying to go too outside the scope of what the market can deliver. You're not forcing the market to your will and dictate, because it just won't work. The market doesn't even know you're there. Some alts can get really spiky. We saw audio just absolutely taking off, and I put this in here to show you that sharp angles do tend to reflect. So Borsog will actually teach you when to get out and when to exit positions. This is really important. If you're investing and your majority of money is in your investing or hodling portfolio, you may just like to take out a little bit of money or put some more money in, like coffee money, to learn how to time the market. And then when it comes to your investments, you'll be 10 times better as an investor. Let's have a look at TRB. We can see TRB starting to over-accentuate the up moves. And TRB can do this from time to time. API 3 is also pretty interesting. Don't forget, you're not wedded to any of these particular Borsog trades or any other Borsog trade that you may actually seek out. And these are just representative samples of some alts that are moving. I don't endorse any of them. You must do your own research. But the concept with Borsog trading, you're just in it for a short time and then you're out. Let's have a look at the greatest gainers over the past 24 hours. Matic up 16.71%, Engine 10.88, Uni 10.2, Flow 8.34, Sand 7.42, and Compound 5.42. Going the other way, the greatest losses over the past 24 hours. Waves down about 11%, Synthetics down 8.68, FTT down 5.83. Remember, FTT yesterday was bolting, now it's coming down. This is the way of the alts. They're up and down and all over the place. Crypto market is really volatile, but that's very nice for trading. HBAR down 5.6% roughly. Nexo down about 5.6% as well, and GNO down 4.42%. Because market sentiment has turned so negative, Borsog is the way to go. Remember, Borsog is not DCA. It's not accumulating. You're turning it over. It's almost like you've got a fruit and veggie stand, and the particular produce that you have will expire within 1 to 2 days. That's kind of like Borsog trades. You want to churn them and burn them. And you can also have a much more conservative process where you stay inside a particular top alt and just hang out in there and Borsog there. There's many ways to Borsog. In fact, there are infinite ways to Borsog, but the overall concept, learn and keep it really small so that you don't have any issues if it just gets wiped out. Because as you're learning, this is going to be the case. The markets demand the tuition fee of loss, and that's just the way markets have been since time immemorial. There's a really good calculator that you can use called Omni Calculator. It's omnicalculator.com. What you can see if you had $100, and I'm just using 100 because it's simple to understand the math, and you made $2, that's 2%. But if you got that within a day and kept rolling those amounts over, you would make 138,324% at the end of the year. There is no reason why you have to roll over when you Borsog. Don't feel any pressure. That's not what Borsog is about. It's all about learning. But if you can see how 2% can make a huge difference, maybe you can just trade in 1 or 2 tokens. And this is something that you need to bear in mind as well. Just actually spot the particular Borsog trade that suits you best and suits your personality best as well. We know the cryptos move around crazy amounts. 2% is a sneeze for crypto. And you can see all of these particular cryptos. You could do that with them, but you need to know what you're doing. So I suggest you just take as little as you can possibly put on a trade. Don't worry how much money you have. Just put a small amount in and just learn how to Borsog. Learn how to spot your resistance levels, how to spot your support levels, how to spot trend reversals, all of those things. Nothing beats hands-on practice. And you can see some crypto projects overextend and under-exaggerate Bitcoin's price momentum. Generally this happens because they're riskier, and there was a lot of stuff happening with Solana recently. Sometimes cryptos just sell down way too far, too fast, and that can create these kind of spikes. Or sometimes it just tracks along with Bitcoin's gravity. So just bear this in mind when you're actually seeking opportunities to Borsog. It's a really, really good way. You don't have to leave the crypto market because things have turned negative. You can actually do really well, but you have to have the right mindset. The 2 greatest enemies of any trader, and we know all investors become traders anytime they buy or sell, is self-doubt and self-sabotage. Getting around self-doubt and self-sabotage is not easy. It requires commitment. And commitment, as Oscar shared in yesterday's video, commitment means adhering to the process of learning, of doing better, of always expanding your knowledge. In marriage, we promise it for good and bad times. In business, we call commitment professionalism. In religion, we call commitment faith. Be the hero of your own life story. Very beautiful, Oscar. There were so many beautiful comments on commitment. I just wanted to say thank you to Brett. Brett says, how can we talk about commitment without talking about you, Ken? Commitment, dedication, obligation, duty, loyalty, responsibility, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity, and a second meaning of an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. Most of us know how much you are committed and why, because you made a promise. But do we know how much these videos must restrict you? And at special times too, like Easter, Christmas, New Year's Eve, your birthday, Mum's birthday, Kate's birthday, when you were doing your wedding, on your honeymoon, even when you were sick. You are committed to helping out as many people as you can. That's very lovely, Brett. I really appreciate you saying that. Brett goes on to say, we need to realize that one day we will be gone too. As Ken says, we're only here for a good time, and we need not cheat ourselves during this time. We should all live up to our full potential, because we each deserve to be a financial blessing to ourselves and our families, and we can all do that with commitment. So ask yourself, what real wealth example do you want to be to the ones you love, and be committed to it. Just like Ken. Thanks so much, Brett. That's really lovely. I talk a lot about the psychological aspects of trading and investing because I find that most people, the barrier between them and being a financial blessing to themselves and others is just emotion or lack of emotional control. I have found, unfortunately, throughout life that the most successful people are the happiest, and the most unsuccessful people are the ones who engage in conflict as a default position. Flamingo said something really beautiful. Being the best version of yourself, committing to love, gratitude, integrity, and kindness. A lot of times people get overtaken by their own emotional state because very bad things happen in their past and they feel they want to balance the scales. The key is when you get to investing and trading, the market doesn't know you exist. You can have the worst story in the world, but the market doesn't know you, and it never will. It's really easy to get caught up in zone 1 and zone 2 behavior, entitlement and aggression and blame and conflict and going to war. But the truth is zone 3, consistent profitability, and zone 4, meaning in life, is where everybody wants to actually end up. Flow Exponential said something really beautiful. Right now, I'm focusing on finding ways to establish deeper channels of gratitude in my life. You can see that gratitude is just such a powerful force. Forgiveness is a powerful force, not for other people, but for yourself. The more gratitude we have as individuals, the happier is our life. There's always something negative to focus on, and if you're looking, you will definitely find it. But if you look through the eyes of gratitude, you will see the beauty in life as well, and you will find that instead. Let's return to Bitcoin, and we can see the longs and the shorts. The shorts are ramping up. The longs are also ramping up. And what do we notice here? Just recently, we've had a big spike up. The shorts have been curling over. It would tend to suggest that the shorts have been liquidated just recently. But over the past period of time, the longs have suffered more liquidations than the shorts. Looking at total liquidations across the past 24 hours, there's been 163.87 million across 62,431 positions. Over the past 24 hours, about 65% of total liquidations were long liquidations. What about the past 12 hours? Starting to reduce, about 58% long. Past 4 hours, there we go, about 72% short. And in the past hour, whoa, 90% short. We can see in the last day, we had more longs getting liquidated than shorts, but shorts and longs are always getting liquidated together. This is just the nature of leverage trading. When you're starting off with Borsog Trading, just use really low amounts, and please don't use leverage, because what you're trying to do is to understand. When you better understand the market synchronization, you'll move with the market and not against the market. And that's really vital to do. And the only way you can do that is being practical and actually getting in there and having a go at it. As a community, we focus on positive excellence and maintaining real wealth foundations. I thought it would be really good to talk about learning in the comments. Learning is absolutely the bridge from zone 1 and zone 2, which is negative excellence. Negative excellence is all sorts of things that don't exist here. This is zone 3 and zone 4 thinking. Instead of talking about zone 1 and zone 2, I think it's better to talk about what to actually focus on. For example, in zone 1 and zone 2, there is no kindness really. It's all aggression. It's entitlement. It's people just stepping up and saying, the world owes me. The world doesn't owe anything to anyone. We actually get from the world what we give to the world. But in zone 1 and zone 2, people are expecting to take and not to give. Life is a very harsh teacher, and learning is really important. If learning or life is giving you learning opportunities, they will typically come dressed in pain and disappointment and sadness. And that's all to take you into zone 3 and zone 4. There's no negative without many positives, but learning has to take place. So I think learning is a great thing to talk about. And we've got an enormous number of very talented people who comment regularly. And also, if you would just like to comment and reach out, share whatever you would like to. That's really beautiful. We're a very open and inclusive community, and we're founded on positive excellence and real wealth. Naned, a couple of episodes ago, had a really beautiful statement. Naned was teaching the students and saying, when the student got upset with a board game, I guess, that they were playing and they lost, the student said, oh, I'm really upset. They were young, young students. The concept is, Naned said, I win, you learn. That's really, really good. Or you win, I learn. That's the concept, and it's true in just about everything. Well, literally, it is true in everything. And if we think about how vitally important it is to learn, many people don't want to learn. They let their humility, or the inverse of their humility, stand in the way of taking the lessons that life is giving them. Life gives you lessons. People are just the delivery mechanism, or circumstances are just the delivery mechanism. Now, this is really, really important to learn. Learning is key in everything. I would love to hear your comments, especially if you haven't commented before. I'd love to see you comment. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video, and also subscribing to the channel. We would love to have you as a part of our globally extended KS family. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers, and the CTKS ambassadors for assisting Masterclass students, and of course, a very big thank you to you for watching and for being part of our global family. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the tax software I use and also the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. Please seek out an ambassador to get 80% off. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.